Well, hey there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Island Church Weekly Podcast. I am joined by Dr. Will McRaney, as ever, fresh from the SBC convention where he's
Yes,
been all week. So, how you doing, man? You look like you survived the SBC, which is maybe the best you could say for it. It's like, hey, I made it through. How was it over there?
it was interesting as usual.
Yeah,
Having
always.
about 12,000 Baptists gather together.
Yeah,
And I can say this about Baptists because of my roots in Baptist life, but anytime you get two Baptists together, you got at least four opinions.
it's fair. You can say it, right?
So it's good. And enjoyed connecting with people. Got a few ministry ideas. You probably know this stuff because it's part of your world, Matt. But in essence, you got this massive trade show kind of stuff going on
Yeah,
too. That's behind the scenes, and so
people
I was
selling
really
all.
excited about. And Sandy and I went through, looked at the booth, looking at some of the children's resources because
Yeah,
as we try to launch into that, thinking about our women, thinking about our men.
yeah,
Talked to Lifeway about publishing again, and so. Myself personally. And so anyway, there were some things like that were beyond the business and beyond even the sermons, but overall it's good. We had one of our own, Pinellas County's own, became the new president of the Southern Baptist Convention.
very good.
Doesn't hold powers over, but it puts him in a position to speak, gives him a microphone and puts him in speaking. It's Willie Rice up at Calvary Clearwater. Willie and I were at seminary at about the same time, and known each other quite a while, and so it was very, very pleased to see Willie get this position, and that helps in several different kinds of ways. And he's really, really understands about reform and trying to make things work for churches, not
Yeah,
make work the churches work for the denomination or for the for the entities. So
yeah,
it's good. It's good to connect with people and people serving God, and you're just encouraging to hear people's stories and be able to to also hear some of people's hurts and challenges. And it's a time for. I mean, there's probably 50-50 between ministers and ministers' wives, and then lay people. So if I was guessing, maybe you had 5,000 pastors and our pastors' wives that were there, and out of say 12,000 people. So
yeah.
anyway, it's
Cool.
good.
Very cool. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, how was Sunday at Island Church?
Sunday was good again. Well, took another step forward in this whole identity series, and I think that I got some good feedback in terms of that. Just thinking about how the continent of Christianity, if we
Yeah,
using that analogy,
yeah,
how that's divided out into different countries, and we
yeah,
talked about the Catholic Church a little bit. We talked about Orthodox Church, and we talked about Protestant churches, and even outside of that, you've got inside each individual country, like the Protestant Church, you've got Baptist, Methodist, Lutheran, Presbyterian. You just go down this list, and we talked about what's essential. How do you have? And I talked about three tiers. Another place I talked about four tiers, but I want to give the idea to people that you got essential things that are worth splitting over. I mean, if you don't believe about Jesus,
yep.
then you're
Probably.
not going to be Christian, right?
Yep, yep.
Right. So that there's essential kinds of things, and I talked about just briefly about a few of those, and then there are things that kind of when you settle out, kind of create a denomination. Then even outside of that, you've got things that are less essential that you may have different beliefs on, like the end times or your favorite translation of the Bible. That's not an essential issue. So we really try to help people put their hands around stuff they're dealing with, maybe themselves, but
Yeah,
particularly as we engage in the mission field around the island and the surrounding areas, you engage with people. And so I try to give vocabulary to what people are actually experiencing, and then just, hey, let's make sure we're focusing on the central kinds of things, and which was for us would be the gospel
yeah,
and Christ, the Word, and those kind of essential things. And then the mission of the church. And we all will do this in a loving type of way, even with people that are radically different than us. We still want to go with the spirit of love. And so that's kind of what we did. It was a good Sunday, good
very cool.
responses, good number of people that are again checking out our church again for the second, third, fourth time.
Very
And
cool.
so that was a good Sunday.
That's awesome. Good stuff, man. Well, how can folks be kind of plugging into life of the church coming up? What do they need to know that's coming on the horizon?
Well, I'm instructed again to talk about the Father's Day because we're going to have our own Charles Blanton, and I think Larry Gonzalez, and maybe even another person or two is going to pitch right in and get those steaks done. And if your steak's not cooked right, just call Matt. Let him know. That's going to be
I'll
the story.
I'll make sure I get that fixed if I can.
So we got that coming up Father's Day. It's not just for the men, it's going to be for the women and the children as well. Sandy has the women paying $10 a piece and
Okay.
has the children paying $5 with a maximum family of like $20 or something like that,
Yeah.
just to defray some of our cost. Obviously, if you can have a steak dinner for $10, then that's a good deal. We're not going to serve steak to the kids,
Yep.
but anyway, we'll do something more fun for them. But that's coming up, and it'll just a good time just to get together. And so that'll follow our service on Father's Day, which is upcoming in a couple of weeks. And so that'll be a big time. And so we really appreciate Charles and Larry and the others that will be involved in putting that together. And we'll kind of celebrate men, the importance of men. I mean, people ask, what is it? My area's been in the areas of studying things nationally, what's been going on through all these decades, and still, if you ask the question, what group in the country has the most number of people that are not reached for Jesus? You would say it's a white male.
That's fascinating. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
There's more white males in the country not being reached for Jesus than any other group. I'm not saying we don't reach other groups. We certainly do. We do targeted kinds of ministries. But the point is, the church really needs to make sure we continue to address trying to reach the men and for Christ. And so we want to celebrate their role. We love our women, too, and we've just been celebrating
that's
that.
Why we have Mother's Day. You're right.
Nope, that's right. But we also want to. There's a book entitled "The Fatherless America," and that's a really sad state. We need men to be men, lead their families, lead out in the community, lead in their work, lead in the church, and to take some of their roles and not stand back and let. We do know if it really gets in a crunch, you need something done, you probably should hand it to a woman who gets stuff done. But so we really love our women. That's upcoming Father's Day. So that's a big thing. And then just connect with people this summer. Make sure you're schedule somebody that you sit by in a worship service. Schedule a dinner. Go to each other's house or go out somewhere and just connect. Maybe it's just coffee or something. But go to the lake. Go to the water. Go to the Gulf. Get in a boat. Get in something. And spend some time together.
Awesome. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. That's a great word. Cool. Well, how can folks be praying for the church this week? What's something they can have on their heart, on their mind to be praying for the church?
Well, I would just reiterate some of the things I said even last week. The children's are going to be our biggest thing. We've got to get something children program started prior. Like to have already done it, had intentions of getting it done. Several things happened, prevented that from happening. With the children, we are encouraged. I think Sandy's has located a person that's worked with us in the past with our younger children. So we're going to have someone that every week paid to be there. That's going to be there. So we're going to be able to take care of those, say 3 and under. And then of course, I just encourage everyone. The way you get the most out of anything is to get engaged. It's just that simple. Yeah. And whether it's in a group, whether it's on a team, whether it's serving, whether it's like Arnie put, doing a great job taking care of those signs. People are seeing our church because Arnie's putting signs out there.
Right.
But
absolutely.
Find if you bring us a willingness, you bring it to Jolene, she'll help find you a way. Or you bring it to me, bring it to Sandy, we'll help find a way.
Yeah. No, that's a good word. Awesome. Well, Pastor Will, any closing words on? I know we were talking before about what's coming up in terms of the teaching series. You want to tease that a little bit? I think that's always fun to kind of give people a little taste of what's coming up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down this thing, down this pathway of kind of looking around the 10 Commandments in some ways. I'm gonna try to do it in a creative kind of way. It's not gonna be harsh, but as Tony Evans said, you and I are talking about as well. Tony Evans, famous preacher in Dallas, says God's big on commandments, not suggestions. Yeah, but we could take some of the basics for granted. I don't think I've ever preached like a series, and I'm sure I haven't decided if I'm going to do 10 sermons or if I'm going to put 2 together. What I'm going to exactly do yet, but I'm going down that path. I think it's really important because actually, as you know, those commandments don't end in the Old Testament. They're New Testament things, and Jesus expanded on them further and there's a loving component, loving aspect to them. Absolutely. And to express love to God and love to people, we want to love them well. This just helps us know of our need for Jesus, and it reminds us to be engaged with people and engaged with God in ways that would please Him. So it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun series, so that's for sure. Awesome, awesome. Well, thanks for giving people a little bit of heads up of what's coming. Hopefully, that's helpful for folks. They can get excited about what's coming up next in the teaching series. And as always, we're grateful for you and grateful for all those who are watching. Thanks for joining us for the Island Church Weekly Podcast. We'll see you back here next week.